Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again, and I'm not growing alone today in the studio.
Not today.
Not today. Look, do you recognize that voice, don't you?
Welcome, welcome, everyone.
Wow. Erica is in the house at the Mystic Manor in town for a very short time. It's like in and out.
In and out.
Literally today is like my schedule's so packed, and it's like we're doing this as she's leaving out of town, and it's like late getting here. So it's like, okay, let's do the podcast quick. So how was your trip?
It was amazing. I went to the Conscious Life Expo.
We haven't even caught, literally she walked in, I turned on the mic because of timing. So You're going to hear the update from the Conscious Life Expo just like I am.
I love this event. It's a really fun event with really great speakers. The weekend ended with Bashar.
Oh.
Yeah, so he
Bashar
actually
is there.
wasn't live there, but he was live virtually.
Oh, wow.
And so he's just always amazing.
I love
And
Bashar.
what wound up happening is that every single conversation that we had, conceptual conversation that we had over the weekend, he wound up touching on every single point to just sum up the entire weekend. So it was just perfect.
That sounds like something he would do.
Right?
Yeah. You know, interesting. I had, I don't know if you listened to, I don't know if you ever listened to me. I don't know why you would know. But
I listened.
But a long time, maybe a year ago, I had my good friend Samarpan, who used to live here, on, and he had like an incredible experience, like down in the Amazon, where he was, and I've talked about this on the show, where he saw that, ETs were going to make themselves very known on 2/22/22, and this is going back like a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now he, of course, is like, could that just be a vision for his ayahuasca journey? And to him, it was very intense and very real. And of course, he understands how these things work, and it doesn't maybe. But wouldn't that be a trip if they actually landed? And so I thought of that because of Bashar.
Well, he said he did talk about that yesterday.
Oh yeah, what did he say?
Yeah. He said there's a window of opportunity opening in 2023 that will last till 2030 something, between 2035, maybe 2040, something like that. I don't know if I'm maybe going too far, but around the 2030 somethings. And in that window of opportunity, we will be seeing more actual contact, and we will be seeing the hybrid children that are coming in as well.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of hybrid children, I'm just such a like squirrel. I mean, anything you say, it's like, well, I've got a story. Literally yesterday, I found out that my dad has a sister. It was the neighbor across the street from him growing up. This little girl who was like 15 years younger than him or something. I guess there was always a joke about this woman and my grandfather. And yeah.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Big news.
I don't know if she's a hybrid child, but
Oh my God, yeah, I don't know if that qualifies.
she might be. She might be a hybrid child. You never know.
Oh,
It just
wow.
made me think of that. It's been a lot of interesting family stuff for me, actually, the last few days. I had maybe 4 or 5 days ago, my partner Karen took me through, it was totally randomly, took me through an exercise to like, to basically initiate healing and connection with my grandmother on my mom's side. And I went through this process, and it was like super emotional for me. I didn't expect it. I wasn't even planning to do it. It just like sporadically happened, went through the process, super, super emotional. And at the end of it, it was so impactful. I was like, I'd love to get validation that she received, this whole like really clearing. Because the last time I saw her, I was like 21 or something. She drove my whole family drove to Tennessee where I was going to college and my sister was going to college because my sister was getting married. And literally on the drive home to Virginia from there, it's like a 12-hour drive, she just took a breath, slumped over in the car and died. She saw everyone she loved and knew at the wedding. Aww. And 2 days later. And anyway, when she showed up at the college, before the wedding, I remember she was like, are you going to say, everyone was in a room and I was talking to whoever and she's like, are you going to say hi to me? Like, I just kind of like didn't give her the attention she wanted. And that's always stuck with me. Like, I wish, I didn't know a few days later that was going to happen, of course. Mm. And so anyway, I went through this whole healing exercise and it was so cool that maybe 2 days after it, my sister says, oh my gosh, look at this video. It's like some viral video, this grandmother interacting with her grandson. Mm. And the woman was so much like my grandmother and like, all these loving messages. She would cry, gifted socks like in the video, which is totally what my grandmother was famous for. Like you could give her like a napkin and she'd be like, oh, real emotional about it, And so, it was really, really cool to have that.
Wow. And that's how spirit works, right? Like, all you got to do is ask. You asked. You asked for that validation, that affirmation. Yeah. Like, help me believe that this really happened. And there it was. And it's so easy for spirit to do that, to manipulate our illusory particles.
This woman was so much like her. It was like eerie, And then, of course, if you take the messages she's relaying to her grandson throughout all the videos and, like, apply them as if it's coming to me from my grandmother, is pretty special.
Because it is, and that's why it came to you.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. So
I love the magic.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd get the same kind of message if I connected to my grandfather, who just gave me a new aunt apparently, but he was quite different than the grandmother on my mom's side. But so tell us a little bit about the expo. Wow. What you told us Bashar, but what else did Bashar have to say, or what else? What are some of the key takeaways that?
Key takeaways. All right. Well, we'll talk about Bashar since we're talking about Bashar. But actually, before I talk about Bashar, what I really liked about this year's expo, there was a heavy astrology component, which was new this year.
Oh, cool.
And Rick Levine was there, and Rick Levine is one of my favorite astrologists to listen to. So I was super excited. He is like old school, been around since, 70s, 80s minimum. Mm-hmm. This man knows what he's talking about. He's funny, he's poetic, and I really, really enjoyed him being there.
Cool.
Chinese astrology, not, Vedic astrology, Western astrology, amazing. So some of the themes that kept coming up this weekend were the only thing that you can actually change. We think we can change the future, but really what we can change is the past. We can change how we feel, our perspective about that past, right?
Interesting.
Everyone who grows up, we have a certain perspective about how our parents felt about us, about how we just handled life, right? And we have certain perspectives that now we have set in our energy systems. But a lot of that's a lie. A lot of that's not even true, what we believe in our adult life. And so we can look back in our past and change our perspective on that, which changes our present. And then obviously that is going to affect our future. Right. But the only way to actually change your present moment is to change that story of the past. Yeah.
That's a really powerful perspective that I haven't heard. Like, oh, that's the only thing you can change. And it's like, it's interesting if you think about changing the past and then, the ripples that it causes you to almost like timeline shift or something. I think of
it's exactly what it is.
I think of a story, I've shared many times on the podcast where my ex-partner had an experience where she was like, it was like a past life regression where she was ghosting her former self in like the 1500s or something. It was a really detailed story. I've shared the whole thing before, so I won't share it all. But at the very end, she was dying alone in the woods in this little cabin in Russia, and in other timelines or pasts, she was very depressed and sad the year leading up to her death, which led to her passing. And this time, the current version of herself, my girlfriend, was there to like help her cross over and show her and kind of like give her a different perspective on everything that had happened, that then kind of freed her from what came after death, I guess. So to me, it was always like a really like just wild story to think. I mean, that's a dramatic way of like changing your past by your future self showing up to guide your, past self.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And, you hear, speaking of, ET showing up, or you hear people talk about, that's a theory as to what they are, right? These are actually future us coming back to help us.
100%.
Same kind of thing, right?
100%. I was actually just going to say it.
Yeah.
That all of it is us, your higher self. You have dimensional levels that are infinite, and you have different aspects, parallel versions of you existing on all these different dimensions all the time right now. Yeah. And you're constantly shifting through these timelines, these dimensions, based on the decisions that you're making that affect your vibration, the choices that you're making in terms of where you are focused, where you're allowing your mind to go, and how much you're staying in your heart center.
Yeah. It always comes back to like storytelling, right? It's like, be a good storyteller if you want good things in your life. But what story are you telling around what has transpired in the past? Or, whether that's 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago, a lifetime ago. It's true. Our perspective is the only thing we really have. That's the only power that we have.
It
is to change our perspective as to how we're viewing a particular situation.
Yeah. Let's take an example. As you're saying that, I'm thinking, what if you grew up thinking your parents didn't love you, right? Mm-hmm. And then as an adult, you still believe this. My parents didn't love me. And you have all of these beliefs centered around that. Mm-hmm. What if you looked at it from a different perspective and you saw that your parents were just humans and they were doing the best they could? And they really actually did love you in the best way that they could. And you could actually see that and understand that perspective. Imagine now how much that changes your present.
Totally. So my favorite book is The Little Soul in the Sun by Neale Donald Walsch, which is this story, right? So take it even a step further. Not only were they doing the best that they could based off who they were with what they had, based off their evolution, et cetera, but they actually signed up to be that a-hole parent for you. They suffered as that a-hole parent, which was why they were an a-hole parent, because they're suffering and they're miserable and unhappy and whatever. And if you trace it back to the why would a divine being that is love at its essence ever choose to go down this path? Because it loved you so much that it chose to take on the role of being the a-hole parent so that you could then have the experience of overcoming that. And they literally suffered on your behalf to create that opportunity for you. And when you take that lens and put it on any and all quote unquote wrongdoings, that book, I've recommended it at least 25 times on the show, and I'll go ahead and recommend it again. For all, it's a children's book, but all kids from age 9 to 99, I think should check it out. It's like 10, 15 minutes to read. The Little Soul in the Sun by Neale Donald Walsch. Because I believe it really is, tells the story of who and what we are and what's going on behind the curtain.
Yeah. We all volunteer to be either the villain, the victim, the helper. We volunteer. From that perspective up there, it looks so different. We can see that we're helping, and it doesn't feel so emotional.
It's funny you use that word, because last week's Soul Share, she said there are no victims, there's only volunteers.
Absolutely.
And I hadn't really heard that,
Yeah.
That's stated that way before, and I really love that. Now I know that's super controversial for a lot of people. That's really triggering,
Absolutely, it is.
Especially if you're not residing in this perspective, or you've been through some real serious trauma that is like really hard to, digest and come to terms with.
I would never volunteer for this.
Yeah,
Why would I do that? Right. It's awful. Absolutely. Right. But there is a perspective and exactly. Yeah, you can get to this perspective to see why is it happening for you and how is it helping you in your soul's growth and your journey.
Yeah, if you're an infinite being and all you have is infinity ahead of you, eternity, we can't even wrap our minds around that. But if that is what is laying before you, you're probably going to try on every flavor, every perspective, every angle,
have to, as a matter of fact.
every vantage point. Well, yeah, it's the only way anything can mean anything. You know, you've never seen a great work of art without shadow in it, and so that's
can't have it actually.
And we are our souls works of art. You know, literally living and breathing art.
Oh, that is so true. Beautiful, poetic, harmonic poems we are of light.
Indeed. So what else did what else was a highlight from this weekend's event?
Well,
I've it's been a couple years since I've been. Is this the first one that they've had since COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. Yeah. And this event was probably maybe a third of the size that it normally is.
Gotcha.
So I enjoyed that just because it wasn't like walking through a sea of people, and definitely more intimate, more availability to see all the people that, you know, you want to see, and it just made it a little easier. One of the things that I actually wanted to touch on that Bashar said, somebody asked a question about vampirism, like psychic vampirism. And he said, that does not exist. You allow that. That is your perspective. So no one can take anything from you unless you allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and the negative entity business. That's you.
You know, it's so funny because there's literally, I don't know if it's still out there, but there's a clip from like, I don't know, probably 2014 Lightning in a Bottle Festival with Bashar talking, sitting directly on the ground under him in this big audience is me and my friend Tyler, like right under him. Someone in that clip walks up and asks something. Me and my boyfriend are so traumatized and scared because we think they're like reptilians or something, or, you know, coming into our field, and, you know, she's just like on one, you know, paranoid with whatever they were experiencing. And he was like, none of that has any power unless you give it power. Now, you become invisible to anything quote unquote negative. It's so like you only do it to yourself. So you can only invite something in that is, you know, it's like, it's not like everything. It's not, there is no out there. Right. It's you doing you to you.
Yeah. What are you vibrationally matching to right now? Where is your focus? Are you allowing that? Because it's all there.
Yeah.
All of it is there. You get to decide what you want to look at.
Yeah. That's one of the most powerful things that I think anyone can fully understand. This idea that, you know, because it's so easy to feel helpless, and you know, when you say, well, what can little old me do in the context of the world or the universe? You know, you ever see the pictures of like, you are here, where Earth is, and our galaxy, and then our galaxy is a speck. It's like, oh, hold on, I am less than, you know, than a grain of sand on the beach. You know, It's like, and you are also the center of your own private YOU universe. And
he actually said that, Bashar.
Yeah, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Absolutely.
And you are that. And so, you know, you're literally able to shift all your experiences with that perspective. That's the only tool to wield. Managing your vibration, learning to, you know, get your perspective and to a point where you're telling stories that serve you.
Yes.
Really. That's it. That's it. And that creates the world. That creates the rendering of the video game in front of you in a way that you want to see. And it's like this, it's really hard for people to get that. Look, there is no out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this creating of a reality stuff.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about like that particle wave duality, right? When you look at it, it's a particle. When you're not observing it, it's a wave.
Yep.
Well, okay. What does that tell you? When you look at it, it is solid. So what are you looking at, and what are you creating in that solidity?
And when you're not, it's in potential.
Potential.
It's a potential form. It's like, and yeah, your consciousness snaps it into a particular fixed location, essentially.
That fixed location comes from your focus. Yeah. It's like that beam of focus that is what is creating your material world, because we are not particles. We are waves. Planets are waves. People are waves. We are not particles. Yeah. That's like one of the biggest illusions we exist
particles
in.
are another word for wave. It's cool. If you go down further, it's like, oh, it looks like a thing. We'll call it a particle. That means solid. Hold on. Let's zoom in. Oh, it's a wave. Oh, it's a wave snapping in and out of existence. And we don't know where it comes from or where it goes to, but it's intelligent when it shows up here. It's like, It's wild.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, guys, I will tell you, we would be going longer if Erica wasn't late. So
listen, it's hard to get out of a conference where there are so many people that you need to say goodbye to.
So what she's trying to say is that they're more important than me
not
and you.
Not the least bit. It's just so hard to get out. It's
just
so
kidding.
hard.
I totally know. It's like leaving a festival or something.
It's
like it's impossible.
There's
almost.
20 people on the way out the door that you gotta hug and say goodbye to, and yeah.
Well, this was short but sweet, and it's been a minute since we've been in the same room, and I'm glad that you. It has been years since we've been in the same room, so I'm glad that you flew into my reality, and hopefully next time we'll have a little more time.
Yeah, for sure.
To share, and I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Me too.
Yeah, we were just talking about doing this. A week or two ago?
Yeah, like last week.
Yeah, and then I didn't realize you were going to be here, and then
I didn't tell you.
Yeah, and then you didn't tell me, and then I'm like, and then I messaged her like, "Hey, you want to do that thing next week?" She goes, "Actually, I'm going to be 10 minutes away from you." Oh, okay. Well, come over. So
that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, see how that manifestation thing works?
Even though I was late.
Even though she was late.
But we did it. We're here.
You said you had a song you wanted to play that you were listening to on the way?
Yeah, this is that song, Resistance.
Oh, I like that song.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, no more resistance.
None.
Surrender. And hope you guys enjoy this. Thank you, Erica, for co-creating this episode with me.
Thanks for having me, babe. It's fun.
Bye for now, everyone.
Till next time.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
Destruction and turmoil, but this is the fire that will refurbish the soil, and we stand united in our discomfort. We're growing stronger every summer. We stay awake while the others slumber. I breathe in deep, feel every little piece of air. Wonder if I'll stay strong enough, long enough. Because they don't fight fair, they turn on the people. Forgot where they are from. Forgot that the air that they breathe in is the same that fills our lungs. We could be angry, we can be violent, we could stand by, we could be silent, or we could resist the changes, the war of ages that they wage while we pay their wages. We could say, we could say 1, 2, 3, say that we've been here before, and it's about time they remember who it is they working for. We know the strength and the power in the persistence. So respect our existence, or expect our resistance every time, yeah. Expect our resistance every time. People told to hold tight, said it's gonna go get better with him. But time after time we do what they do for us, and we forgive them. But it's gone on now for a bit too long, since my granddad was born. They've been lying to us about the family, trying to keep us torn. But now I see that us and them said it's only a game to you. Cause when we talk to one another, said we know that ain't true. Cause I said I am you and you are me, and we are one with family. It's only them who want to see us turn away silent, or we could. Now resist the changes, the war of ages that they wage while we pay their wages, we could say. We could say 1, 2, 3, said, and we've been here before. And it's about time they remember who it is they working for. Cause we know the strength in the power, and the power in the persistence. So respect our existence, or respect our resistance every time, yeah. Expect our resistance every time. There isn't us in them, but it ain't me and you. So there isn't us in